Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and I'm here to talk about games 66 and 67 of the regular season, where the Rangers lose 6-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning and then win 7-4 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. And why is it two games? Well, I went to the game over in Tampa, and I could not get Wi-Fi to save my life. There was no internet where I stayed, and so instead of trying to just figure something out, I said, I'll just wait till I get back home and make a little 2-for-1 special. And to be helpful, the Rangers gave me a game in Tampa that was incredibly simple to explain and talk about because it was just the perfect storm of awful things to domino right at the right time. Because in that game against the Lightning, for the first 20 minutes, it was unbelievable hockey from the New York Rangers. They ran them over. Shots in the first period were 11-5. Play driving was just all in the Tampa Bay end. They beat them under the ice for 20 minutes, maybe a little bit more than that. Up until the first Tampa goal, they were just pummeling the Lightning. It was one of the more dominating games from this season for the New York Rangers. And then it all came toppling down in the second period. And what happened in the second period? Well, the big one for me is that fatigue hit the Rangers and memory kicked in for the Lightning. The Lightning, last Saturday, a week ago, played a game against the Philadelphia Flyers. They then proceeded to have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday off, playing again Thursday. The first 20 minutes of that game were the Lightning remembering how to play hockey. The Rangers had a game Saturday, just like the Lightning, then played a back-to-back on Monday and Tuesday, and then played another game Thursday. 3 different games in the time that the Lightning played one, and the Rangers went through 3 different states to do so. They were tired. They were completely exhausted, and it showed in that game. Because the first period, everything was working good, fatigue set in, and then Mika Zibanejad took a puck to the face and left a trail of blood going off the ice. I have not seen every game that Mika Zibanejad has played, not seen every game where he has left with an injury, but I have not seen him in the games that I have watched leave that quickly and not making a scene of it, but it looked really, really bad for Mika Zibanejad. And that was when the life on the bench died. That was when all of the energy from the team completely left the building. And I understand it, and that's the hardest part of the game, is I understand why the energy left. One of the leaders of the team and one of your better players left with a very scary injury, and there's like 15 games left of the playoffs. You need him to be there for the playoffs, and you need him to be at 100%. Now, credit to him. He came back in the game. He came out in the third period with the bubble mask on. He had the bubble on today again. He came back, but they just couldn't restore order from that point on, even though Roslovic would get his goal, his first as a New York Ranger, which was cool. That was the turning point. The fatigue had set in. There was just no stopping it. The hardest part of the game is not losing the 2 points. This is the final matchup you have against the Lightning. You beat the brakes off of them in both of the other games, including Panarin having a hat trick in Tampa earlier this year, or technically at the very end of last year. And then you beat them 3-1 in New York. You'd allowed 2 goals to them in the first 2 games. And to just play the game like this, and again, I'm not even particularly pissed at the Rangers because I don't think they played terribly. They got tired and then they got in their own heads because of Zibanejad. It's as simple as that. But I've talked a lot about right ways and wrong ways to lose a series, or to lose a game. That was the most wrong way to lose the game because it was really close until it wasn't. It was basically a 4-3 game that ended up being 6-3. Now, I'm not trying to say that to take anything away from the Lightning. They deserve to win. They beat the opponent that was put in front of them handily. But now, going into a playoff series, if the Rangers end up making that game, a 5-4 loss where it's just back and forth the entire time, or the Rangers start down 2-0 and then come back, tie it, and then lose, it's a different conversation. The Lightning get to have who very well could be the first round matchup, and that is why I'm making a point of this. They get to go into that matchup, if it is them right now, thinking the last time we beat them, we overcame the 2-0 deficit. The last time we saw them in the playoffs, we came over a 2-0 game deficit. and they get to feel good. Meanwhile, the Rangers are going to go into that game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, remembering that the last game they played, they blew a 2-0 lead, and the last time they saw them in the postseason, they had a 2-0 lead on home ice and proceeded to blow it. They are going to be squeezing their sticks so tight at puck drop in that game that they might shatter they might just shatter. I've spoken a lot about the right ways and wrong ways to lose a game. That was the most wrong. And then you have today's game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, in which the Rangers offense looks unbelievable. Jonathan Quick, despite allowing 4 goals, was maybe the reason they won. Like, there were that many. He allowed 4 goals, and there were still that many high-danger chances. Like, he had a great game, especially in the back half of the game. He was magnificent. The Rangers offense looked great. I'll specify that. Artemi Panarin, one of the best games of his career. I mean, 5 points, a pair of goals. Beautiful sauce pass on the first Panarin goal from Vincent Trocheck. Miller had a 3-point game, if I'm not mistaken, and I'll talk about him in a second. Adam Fox had one of the most disgusting goals of his career. Every year, Adam Fox, regardless of if it's a great elite year or like kind of a meh year for Adam Fox, every season, usually against someone in the Metro, he will have that goal. Like, that goal. This was that goal for the season for Adam Fox, his 12th of the year. It was disgusting. It was Bobby Orr-esque in front of the net. Panarin, like I said, played great. Mika Zibanejad not slowing down at all from the injury, which is very nice to see. He had a beautiful goal. That whole passing sequence on the Panarin, Kreider, Zibanejad goal on the power play in the second period was fantastic. Keandre Miller had a very nice game, had a goal, had a pair of assists. You love to see that. You absolutely love to see that. And the defense for the Rangers was terrible. Here's why I just kind of don't care. It is the 5th game, if I'm not mistaken. Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 5th game in 8 days. I don't care at all. They won. The defense can give up 80 shots if they win. It's not fair to the goaltender. I understand that. I do not care. The defense is tired. They're missing guys. You could tell that they missed Jacob Trouba today. Probably missed him against Tampa. They need their captain back. They need a very, very good, very, very responsible defensive defenseman back. I'm not going to badger them for giving up quite a few shots like this against the Penguins, who are, again, a very offensive-minded team. It happens. You'd love to see them not allow 38 shots, but also they're exhausted, and it's obvious. Again, 4th game in a row that's in a different state. Like, I'm not going to sit here and criticize him the entire game, but on the Keandre Miller thing, and I've talked about it before, Miller, when he is on, is a game-breaking player. Not defenseman, but just player overall. He can drive play, he can be fantastic in his own zone, and he can get stuff going in the neutral zone. They need him to be on going into the playoffs, because having a 4th defenseman, having an elite top pair, having an elite second pair is so integral for them heading into the playoffs. And he's already shown that he can be impactful in the playoffs. His first go of it with the Rangers back in 21-22 was that kind of a year. It was that impactful season where he was the best defenseman on the team, and you could probably make a case that among non-Igor Shesterkin players was the best Ranger in that playoff run. It was him or maybe Lafreniere. Like, they were both fantastic. You could probably put Mika Zibanejad in the same conversation. It was one of the 3. And if you're looking at all 200 feet, Miller, man, he was good from the minute the playoffs started to the minute they finished. Mika took a couple games to get going. If they can have him hitting on all cylinders, that could be a incredibly game-changing thing. They went out at the deadline and they got a couple of game-changing forwards with Roslovic, who has looked amazing since getting here, and Wenberg, who I think is going to have his day coming up very soon. They didn't really go get that impactful defenseman, but if Miller, who's had a pretty, and I love him to death, pretty subpar year to this point, I've been very disappointed with how he's produced. If they can get him clicking going into the playoffs, that is their massive deadline move of defenseman, if he can wake up going into it. 3-point game tonight. Not going to talk about Thursday at all. 3-point game tonight. Hopefully that gets them cooking. The Rangers now, again, no rest, just not a lick of it. They play tomorrow at 1 o'clock, 22 hours later. Again, in a different state. At least New York is closer to Pittsburgh, so it's not too terrible of a travel. But good God, man, they need rest. 1 o'clock, they're back at Madison Square Garden taking on the New York Islanders. And I'll be here afterwards, very later on tomorrow, to talk about it. But as for right now, that is all I have to say. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Rangers.